RemCos are doing a conscientious job. They have an incredibly difficult task. They put in the necessary amount of hours and work to do their best. But the public, I think, remains dissatisfied with executive pay. It believes that it's too high and is unconvinced that it's fairly arrived at. There was some evidence today that RemCo chairmen and chairwomen also share this dissatisfaction, that they feel that there's been inflation in executive pay which they can't explain. They're in a position where they wouldn't wish to start from here, and some dissatisfaction amongst RemCos about the tools with which they have to operate. I was struck that there's a certain scepticism as to whether reward structures within a company actually serve to affect the performance of the company at all. There seems to be a lack of evidence around this. And also in human terms, there's some doubt as to whether the amount that you pay or the way in which you pay it really makes that much difference to a person's behaviour. This seems to be a pretty fundamental doubt, given the complexity of the systems that have been evolved and the amount of care and effort that goes into defending present positions. The other thing that struck me was the comment made that given that a structure is meant to be very closely aligned to the needs of a business, and the needs of one business will be very different from the needs of another, how is it that actually structures are remarkably similar from one company to another? There seems to have been a bunching effect, which is difficult to explain, and a bunching effect that calls into question whether the structures really are aligned with the needs of a particular business. I'm not entirely sure that there are enough checks and balances in the broadest sense of that term, but I would not myself now look for more regulation or even guidance from government. The field is already pretty crowded with regulation and with guidance. And indeed, some of the issues that have arisen, like the bunching effect, the fact that there isn't much disparity between reward systems in one place and another, might well be due to the fact that regulation has caused people to crowd onto similar ground. Regulation has put people in a position where they either comply or explain. The tendency, therefore, is to comply, and what compliance very often means is occupying ground which is not distinctive from anybody else. So if we really want to get to a situation where executive pay and pay structures are better aligned to the needs of a particular business, then probably we would need less regulation, but certainly not more.